Alright, this video is gonna be an interesting one, and it's gonna be a couple little stories here, and I've done a couple story times on this channel, and I really enjoy doing them. I did this story time about how I thought someone broke into my house, and it did really well, and it was really fun to make, so I'm gonna do another one here. This video is gonna be about some near-death experiences that I've had in my life. Now, this isn't just my near-death experiences I've been a part of, so like maybe like my friend almost died or something. I don't know. The point is, this is near-death experiences, and I'm gonna go over a couple stories that kind of call out to me and that I remember very, very well. Anyways, with that being said, let's just get into it. So this one story I really want to talk about is this story that I think about a lot, and it's really scary to think about, to be honest. And a lot of people that have inhalers can probably relate to this story. But anyways, let me give a little bit of context here because I'm not doing a very good job of that just yet. Basically, in 7th grade, I was in this relationship with this girl named Mackenzie. All right, we've been dating for like 6 months. Okay, this relationship lasted a long time. It lasted like 8 months. I thought she was my soulmate. It was a whole thing. Okay, it was a whole thing. It was a 7th grade relationship, so it was definitely not going to last. But in the moment, I definitely thought it would. But anyways, basically, we went to the same school and we always got off at the same bus stop. And so one day we were walking back, and Mackenzie did have asthma. I found out that she actually left her inhaler at her house. Now, anyone that has asthma can relate that losing your inhaler is the scariest experience ever. I personally don't have asthma, so I can't firsthand relate to this, but obviously because of the story I'm telling you right now, I do understand how scary it can be. We were walking back to her house from our bus stop, and all of a sudden they started having some trouble breathing, and we started walking a little bit faster. We kept going, and it kept getting harder and harder for them to breathe, and all of a sudden they literally broke down. They literally just fell on the ground. They could not breathe. I was starting to freak out. Keep in mind, this is all relative to my age, right? Like, now looking back, while this isn't like any less of a big deal, it's like I was in 7th grade. Like, this could have been traumatizing to me. But anyways, they broke down and they were just on the ground, literally like on the side of the road, on the sidewalk, not able to breathe. And this was like incredibly scary. Obviously, it was because they didn't have their inhaler with them. It was at their house. So I literally sprinted. I sprinted as fast as I could have, ran all the way to their house. Now, keep in mind, their parents, I literally never even had a full conversation with them. They were scary parents, okay? They were those parents that were not like the most easy to talk to, and especially like me being in a relationship with this girl. Like, I wasn't just gonna go up and talk to them, you know? I was in 7th grade. There was no my dad invited you for dinner. You know, there was no formal meeting for the boyfriend. It was a 7th grade relationship. It was a middle school relationship, and I had never talked to her parents at this point. So I ran all the way up to her house, and at this point my adrenaline was completely rushing, you know. I was in fight or fight mode. I did not care about like being anxious about talking to her parents. What mattered was her safety, you know. I was worried about her life. And so, oh my god, there's literally 2 people going to my bed right now. And so I opened the door, and I started knocking over and over because they had a screen and then they had a door. The screen was open, but the door was not. I kept trying to like open the door, and their dad came up, and he just kind of stared at me really awkwardly, and it was a little scary. I didn't really know what to do. I ran in, I got the inhaler. I didn't wait for him to go and get it. I got the inhaler and I ran out. I sprinted all the way back to where she was like kind of sitting on the ground now and trying to collect herself and having a lot of trouble breathing. I think she was anxious about something that had happened earlier in the day, and so this was definitely not helping whatsoever. But basically, I was just kind of there trying to make her feel better. I got her the inhaler, and she survived. And literally, I don't know like what would have happened if I wasn't with her, but I think if I wasn't with her, she could have actually died. And it was genuinely one of the scariest moments of my life. And man, I look back at this story and I'm so glad that I was there walking home with her, because if I wasn't, she would have literally been dead. That would have been terrible. That would have been so bad. I'm glad. I'm glad that she's safe, and I'm glad that it's okay, because it just, oh my god, it was a whole experience. It was really a whole experience. And keep in mind, like, I'm talking about this now like it's not a big deal, but at this point, I was in a relationship with this girl, so, like, it would have been traumatizing if, like, something bad happened to her, because I would have been, like, scarred forever. I don't think I would have ever recovered. A horrifying experience. It was really a horrifying experience, and I hope that anyone that has asthma always keeps their inhaler on them. I don't even know why she didn't have it. I think she just forgot it at home, and she should have probably gotten it to school, but as I said, her parents were scary. They probably didn't really prioritize that, so she didn't have her inhaler. Anyways, that is the first story that I've had with a near-death experience. There's a couple more. Don't leave yet. There's a couple more, and they get crazier. So with that being said, let's get into it. Alright, this next story didn't really involve my life itself actually being risked, but it was one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me. In the moment, I definitely thought that it might be my last day on Earth, so let me just get into this. So basically, if you guys don't know, I'm actually Indian, so I wasn't born in India or anything, but my parents were, and that means my grandparents were as well. So I was born and raised here, but my parents are Indian, and my grandparents are Indian, so I was at my grandparents' house for a couple weeks, and I had a cousin there as well. Now, basically, my cousin was playing this game. I'm not gonna go detailed to what it was about, but it's this Indian game, and it's 2 teams of 7, and basically, it's a very simple, like, dodge and touch game, where you just have to, like, tag someone on the other team and try to avoid getting tagged by them. Now, basically, the reason this is relevant is because while my cousin was playing this game, I was upstairs watching YouTube on my phone or something, and he came upstairs to my grandparents and I, and all of a sudden he told us that he'd been hurt really bad. He basically took his shirt off, and there was this huge cut on his back, and he told us what happened is he was playing this game with a couple of our friends, and he fell back, and he fell onto this air conditioner that was in the garage of the apartment complex that we're playing in. So basically, he had this huge cut on his back, and it was really bad, it was really gross, and we didn't know what to do. We decided it would be good if he obviously got some antibiotics and medication on there. Now, the exact medication we needed, I don't remember, because this happened over 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even 8. I was a pretty young child, and it was a long time ago, so I don't really remember the details, but we needed some sort of medication we didn't have access to at that point in time. So my cousin and I thought it would be a great idea to go outside onto the street, walk to a store, and get that medication. With that being said, this is where the relevant part of the story comes in place, and it's the fact that this was happening at like 10:30 p.m. So it was pretty late out, and for a couple young children, it's not a good idea for us to be walking out late at night, you know? It's just not a good idea. It's not safe, it's not smart, but we did it anyways. Now, basically, this is the part of the story that sounds kind of unbelievable, but it actually happened. We were walking past one of the stores, and one of them had broken glass, and outside of that broken glass, we saw a guy in a chair, and his face was all bloody, and he was kind of just sitting there. He was literally just sitting there, and there was another guy. I don't know if he had any weapons or anything, but there was another guy next to him. It kind of seemed like he was like beating him up, or had recently beat him up, and he was kind of in control of what was going on in that situation. So basically, it felt like a hostage situation. Now, it probably wasn't anything that bad. It was probably some like fight they had that, you know, is none of my business. But basically, the guy that was not bleeding, the guy that was standing next to the guy that was bleeding, kind of saw us. He looked at us, and we looked at him. We made direct eye contact, and this was horrifying. This was literally scary. We thought this guy was gonna chase us and literally try to kill us, and so my cousin and I, we ran for our lives. Literally, we got out of there. I didn't even, like, I don't know, I don't think he saw as much as I did, but we got out of there as fast as we could have, and we didn't look back. We started sprinting, and it was really scary. It was literally really scary, because it looked like this guy was holding this other guy, like, almost hostage, like he'd beat him up over something, and it was just really scary. But we got out of there. We got the medicine, and we came back home safe and sound. Nothing really physically happened there for us, but it was just a scary thing to think about, because I was just wondering what could have happened if we waited there a little bit longer. Maybe the guy could have had a weapon or something else. I have a couple more near-death experiences that I do want to talk about, but I'm going to do them in a different video, because I've already done 2 games in this one. I think it would be really good story time for some other situations that I could talk about. But anyways, I've got so many stories. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see me do more of this, and have a great day, everyone. Peace out. Bye.